You ever have one of those mornings where you're on your hands and knees fixing what winter broke and a stranger strolls up like they own the place and hands you a notice? That happened to me. I was 2 screws short of finishing a deck board, coffee cooling in a thermos, and this woman in a suit, Veronica Hale, shows up with a folder and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She said the gate had to go by Monday for emergency access. I laughed at first. Then I read the paper and the laugh went quiet. My name's Eli Carter. I live on a corner lot in Willow Bend, 2 acres, one old oak. A gate I put up because I like the idea of locking the world out sometimes. I moved here for the quiet and the work of my hands. I didn't move here to be told what I could do with my own property by someone who seemed to have memorized the word compliance. Veronica spoke like she'd been trained in authority, easement, emergency lane, county ordinance. I asked 2 simple things: show me the easement, show me the citation. She shuffled papers and smiled tighter. She didn't have them. That was the spark. Then came the little things that make a plot. Midnight laser measurements, neighbors echoing the same talking points, and a man named Gary Miles who looked official and acted rehearsed. Gary showed up once with paperwork that looked real until you read the numbers that didn't add up. It's funny how a suit can make ordinary people defer, even when the math's wrong. I started to ask questions. Public records are the kind of dull thing that's actually a life raft: deeds, transfers, cash sales. 2 names kept appearing: Ben Rowe and Lance Cooper, both tied to underpriced parcels. Coincidence? Maybe, except coincidence rarely schedules midnight measurements. I set up cameras, modest ones, nothing cinematic, and I taped a few conversations, because conspiracies often prefer daylight, but sometimes you catch them under the porch light. At 2 a.m., a flashlight cut across the grass and a voice said, "Mark the line. Veronica wants a clean record." It was casual, like someone ordering milk. On playback, it felt like an indictment. I'm not a paranoid man. I grew up with a dad who was a firefighter, calm when the siren goes off, practical at the kitchen table. So I did the practical thing. I called a lawyer. Evelyn Price liked lists and hated sloppy paperwork. "Make the property safer than their accusations," she said. "Make it so their story collapses under common sense." So we installed a Knox box, posted visible emergency access instructions, rewired the gate with sensors, and logged every step on paper and in photos. That upset Veronica. She pivoted and pulled in Maria Ortega, an elderly neighbor everyone loves, and spun a tale of ambulances and what-ifs. Hitting the kind-hearted is rotten strategy. People move towards safety by reflex. Maria called me in tears. I found myself balancing proof with patience. Protecting property doesn't mean stomping on people. It means explaining, showing, and sometimes reassuring with a cup of coffee. Then Gary thought he had the knockout, an inspector's visit. He rattled off violations and waved a badge like it earned him the last word. "You can't have a locked gate," he said, as if reciting lines. I asked for his badge number and citation. He hesitated just a moment, and that's all Evelyn needed. I handed him a county printout. No orders, no open violations. He left flustered and mumbling. Meanwhile, the recordings kept delivering. Veronica's voice, crisp and patient, arranging who would say what and when. Ben and Lance rehearsing lines in a park. A bank memo that looked like a thank you note, but was a transfer with a suspicious label. We organized it. Audio, timestamps, screenshots, receipts. Binders are boring to someone running a con, but to a sheriff's clerk, they're the closest thing to a confession. Veronica called a community emergency meeting at the church basement. Folding chairs, fluorescent bulbs, that smell of strong coffee and obligation. She wanted a procession of nods and fearful looks. I walked in with the binder and 2 neighbors who'd seen the midnight measurements. When Veronica started, I asked to speak, played the first clip, then the second. Each time I let the room sit with it. You could feel the air change. Curiosity beat obligation. People listen when they can see the truth on a little screen, when they hear a voice saying, "Mark the line," and realize that voice belongs to a neighbor. Deputies arrived because facts in a binder don't go away. Veronica's practiced speech frayed under cross-examination. Gary stumbled on dates. Ben and Lance suddenly remembered errands and miscommunications that sounded rehearsed. There's a scene I replay. Veronica, lights on her face, smiling as if nothing could touch her, and me, holding a phone with a timestamp no one could argue with. "Play it," I said quietly. and the clip filled the room, footsteps in the dark, a flashlight bobbing. The line, "Veronica wants a clean record." Someone in the back swore. Maria put her hand over her mouth. It's not glamorous, no dramatic chase, no shouting, but it lands. After the questioning and the paperwork, things shifted. The county opened an inquiry into transfers. The sheriff checked credentials. And for once, a binder made a difference. People started asking for receipts. Meetings began to include copies of citations instead of assumptions. We started a little door knock list so Maria didn't have to call alone at night. Small neighbor stuff, but the kind that keeps a place humane. There are small details I keep in my head that don't make good headlines but matter to me. The electrician crawling under the gate at dusk, cursing the stubborn bolt and laughing when his headlamp caught the old oak. The way the Knox box smelled of new metal. Evelyn's neat handwriting on our copies of the safety plan. Maria bringing a plate of cookies the morning after the meeting and insisting, "You did the right thing, honey," like it was obvious. Those are the parts that make the whole thing feel human rather than dramatic. I won't pretend I was noble. I was stubborn, maybe a little petty, certainly tired of being pushed. I was also scared not of a folder, but of losing the quiet life I'd worked on. There were nights I thought, what's the point? It's easier to let a small injustice slide than to pull at a thread that might unravel everything. What made me stay was small, stubborn, and human. The thought of neighbors who deserve honest dealings, a dog that likes chasing shadows, and a place that smells like my wife's coffee in the mornings. I wanted the kind of home where not every suit could purchase a story. So that's the story: a gate, a notice, and a woman in a suit who thought she could rewrite the map of a neighborhood. It ended with papers and questions and a handful of explanations that no longer held up under scrutiny. The gate stayed. Maria sleeps easier. People started asking for proof instead of faith. Tell me, has someone ever shown up on your porch with a folder and a smile and expected you to sign your life away? Was I stubborn, petty, right, or lucky? Drop a comment and tell the story. Put down the place, the voice, and how you answered. Share if this kind of messy, real neighborhood drama resonates with you. And subscribe if you want more stories like this. If your neighbor tail tops Willow Ben's morning with a notice, I'm reading I Really Am.